Humble Artificial Intelligence, AI and Ethics, Some Perspectives, as you can see in the banner. In this keynote workshop session, we will have 35 minutes for presentation and around 10 minutes for discussion. Before starting the session, I would like to introduce our esteemed session chairs. In this session, as the session chair, we have Professor Dr. Mohammad Shahidul Islam Sir, Professor, Department of Information and Communication Technology, Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Islamic University, Kushtia, Bangladesh. Also, we have another respectable session chair, Dr. Selina Sharmin, Madam, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Faculty of Science, Jagannath University, Bangladesh, with us. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Session Chair, Professor Dr. Mohammad Jahidul Islam Sir, to conduct the session. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Nonali, and the moderator also, and all the participants who are all welcome to this workshop. The title is Humble AI and Ethics. I have with my Dr. Selina Nasrin. So I would like to request Selina Nasrin to briefly introduce our Professor Atiqur Rahman Ahad, sir. Dr. Selina Sharmin.
Dr. Selina Sharmin, you are please.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. So here I have the biography of Dr. Ahad, and I can see that it's a long biography and there are much more information, so I am making it briefly. Mr. Atiqur Rahman Ahad, PhD, is an assistant professor. Yes, yes.
Thank you very much indeed. I mean, as we have only 35 minutes, I think no need to read my biography. Just you welcome me and then I start. That would save time.
Okay, I mean, I want to say that the name Atiqur Rahman Ahad is enough for introduction.
Yes. No, not enough. I'm saying
it's okay.
Just to save
time. Please continue and welcome.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Ahad, Atiqur Rahman Ahad is actually a real renowned and expertise researchers in this field. And we, every one of us, we know him very well. So I would like to thank you everyone and STI team for this session. And now I would like to kindly request Dr. Atiqur Rahman Ahad to start the session. As everyone says, we can skip the biography session. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I thank all of you for your time and the organizer for having me. So it's my great pleasure, even though it's not in person, via online. Hopefully in the future, I can join in person. I have been part of this conference since the beginning. It was a wonderful event. Very qualified people are involved with this conference from the beginning, and it's have been running very, very well. So today's topic is an extremely important area on AI. So we call it Humble AI. So by Humble AI, basically, I don't know why the cursor is, okay, I can see the cursor. All right. Which one is this? Because of the background. All right, okay. No. Let me see the cursor. All right, good. So Humble AI, and ethics, some perspective. So AI, and to make it humble, it looks very strange terminology to many of us, that why we consider humble AI, whereas most of the people are not so humble, including myself. So I hope that humble AI will make us humbler as a human being. The point is that, I mean, we need to know what is humble. So just, this guy, Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, he said that I am actually humble. I think I am much more humble than you would understand. So this is not humbleness. And this is Obama. And we know that he's, when he talks, very humble and polite and so on. Now, I'm not against any of those people or for, but let's see what is humble AI. So humble AI is nothing but a concept. So just like an attribute, a philosophy, AI is a sort of philosophy in one sense because coherently it is mathematics, statistics, algorithm to solve different problem. But outer shell, you can consider that the philosophy that engulfs the human being and the artificial intelligence and so on. So what we can see that it's a concept to the development and deployment of AI systems that are designed to be more modest, ethical, and respectful to their limitations and potential risk. So it involves creating AI systems and acknowledge their own shortcomings and strive for transparency, accountability, and collaboration with humans because we make AI to help people, help human beings. So let's see what happens. We are much worried about the AI, just like we have been worried about computers. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. So we are worried about AI, just like long time that there were computers. So people thought that computers take over us, but nothing happened. What about AI? Will it take over human being in some aspects? There's a very important point. People are philosophically discussing these points, even the experts. For example, in this interview, I mean, he said that AI is all around us. It's true. It will be much more than now. And at the same time, he said we shouldn't be worried about AI. But is it? We know that AI are created by people, mainly big corporates. And the concern is that whether people, corporate or government, will exploit and misuse AI. Weaponizing AI is another terminology, just like many inventions in the past, like dynamite and others and others. What about those things? And what about law and regulation? Is science so far well regulated? We know that the answers are no. Then AI is here to reduce our hard work so that we can concentrate more on thinking and human being be creative. But some people say that probably sooner or later, AI will be much more creative than human being. Now, we, the human being, are destructive in many cases, war, killing people, and bad things as well, along with many good things. Even at this moment in the world, various places, people are getting killed miserably, mercilessly, and so on. So if human being can be like that, and we create AI, what about AI's future? Do we need to worry about why or why not? And if worried, then what are the things to check so that we can make AI humble? So she said that I'll destroy humans. Many people are thinking that some perspectives of human will be destroyed and some jobs and I mean intelligence and demands and blah in even many controls. But the point is that when, how, why? No human control because we develop you and you will automatically destroy us in some aspects. And is it for in every sector? Are technologically unreached or weak regions like Bangladesh, India, most of the part of the world will suffer and will be safe considering the development of AI? These are the few questions. So when we discuss about humble AI, this philosophy and the concept, we want to see that we'll make AI in such a manner so that it can be humble and it can emphasize the importance of humility in AI design. And definitely it should be based on some of the core principles that we'll cover. Number one, transparency, ethical considerations, collaborations with human, which is very important because we are making AI to help us. But if AI becomes, non-collaborative with human being, okay, then what will happen? And recognition of limitations. We all have limitations. So what about AI's limitation? Can it understand that it has a limitation? accountability, and so on. So let's see one by one, and I'll give some examples, some verifying things. I hope that I can cover the time. So transparency of AI is important. Humble AI system should be designed to be transparent. I'm sorry to everybody that, I mean, there will be less images, no mathematics for sure, but lots of, I mean, aspects, which is the philosophies and ethics, because these are important to understand the future of AI. And we have to prepare ourselves for that. So when we say transparent, so it means that whether AI can explain and justify their actions in a way that humans can understand. So it's like, I mean, very important, and it means that we should make an AI system, or when AI will develop themselves, it should be understandable, accountable, and trustworthy to users, so that we can trust, we can use. In many cases, we can't trust till now because AI is still now just like a black box. We have input, we get output. Even the godfathers of AI, Hinton and others, they are worried. They are not sure why it works. Like our human brain, the brain works tremendously in many cases. And till now, we don't know how that hundreds of trillions of neurons are working well. What about AI? When we develop the AI system, in a small scale, we can more or less understand and interpret. But when, like human being or intelligent being, trillions of, I mean, neurons are created to do massive things, amazing supercomputing power, then what happens? We don't know how it works. So that's why it's important. And we need to try to address how does the AI system work, and what are the input and output, and how they make decisions, and what are the logic behind them, and whether those decisions will affect users and the society. So it should be transparent, clear to us, and we need to know the potential risk and benefits. So when we bomb an area, we know what are the risks, what are the dangerous points, what are the, I mean, consequences. When AI will do something, do we know that risks and benefits? And if so, do we have the control, or the, I mean, how to control, how to monitor, and what are the solutions? So there is no one size fits all solutions. We have different algorithms. We have to use different strategies to do that. And therefore, AI, transparency of AI should be tailored to the specific demands and expectations of the user and society, so that we can ensure the privacy of the human being, security of human being, and efficiency. Good point is that just, I mean, last Friday, 8 December of this year, European Parliament introduced the AI Act. I'll cover this part soon. So, and that will, I mean, try to control, but it's not easy yet. So AI transparency in healthcare is a big term. For example, just I to give that if you consider the past and last couple of years, how many journal papers considered AI and transparency in different ways in their paper. So it's increasing. That's why when we are working on AI and Industry 5.0, Society 5.0, as we call it in Japan, these are important to unearth. So number two principles of humble AI is ethical considerations of AI. So it should be ethical, not to cause harm, and no bias. How to define and measure the ethical principles for them or for AI, and how to balance? Because say, for example, European Parliament Act, they will try to control many things, just like we'll see that the face recognition, real-time face recognition, they are considering that high risk, or I mean risky thing. So they will try to stop it, ban it, unless there is something is needed. Now, the point is that when we try to control, and then what about the efficiency, performance, and profitability? Because industries, they want to make money. They invest to develop things, and then they want to. So for example, large language models, LLMs, okay, we have Chat GPT, We have Bird, we have Bing AI, we have different other LLMs from different companies like Databricks and others. The question is, when we use the free version, it's okay, ChatGPT 3.5, it's free. But if you want to go for the ChatGPT 4 or use their API, you have to pay. So then when you pay and millions of users are paying, then it's a big market. So they need to go for profit. But if we want to control too much regarding ethical principles, there should be a balance. Then how to make that balance? It's not easy. And how to design and implement AI system to adapt changing context and situations and expectations of users and stakeholders. And how can we monitor, and if there is a negative impact, how to mitigate those, how to rectify those. Now, if you look at here, deepfake, you will be surprised to see that when Obama is saying something, the same tone is coming from him in this, video, and you will find that deep fake, we know that deep fake, it's not real. So the creation of fake videos, which is called deep fake videos, involves the use of generative AI, all right? So deep fake refers to a type of synthetic media that is created using deep learning, like especially GAN. And deep fake is nothing but deep learning and fake. So it is working as if that some real person are talking or doing something. It's a dangerous thing because we are doctoring the image, video, and audio clips as if it's real, but it's not. So what happens? Instead of fact, it's going to the fake. This is a major problem in the world. So let's see some of the negative impact of deepfakes. Fake news. Who is the most important person talking about the fake news? When Donald Trump was the president, or before, he was always making anything fake news, like CNN fake news and others. So it harms a lot. Whether he was true or not, this is not the important point, but fake news are all over. Like, for example, in social media, a fake video came where Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn, they endorsed each other for prime minister in 2019. So if you go, you can see, and it was just 4 years ago. Fraud, like you can create a realistic video recording or audio recording, and you can harm my financial and scam and so on. It can have pornographic issue, which is the most important thing, because deep fake pornographic materials are ruining life. We know that India and probably in Bangladesh, even some girls committed suicide. So it's taking life. And MIT Technology Review, they say that 2 years ago, that, or 2.5 almost, or 3 years ago, that we have to ban it or some control it. Now, and another case, 2018, see, almost, 5 years, I think I can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Emma Watson is a Hollywood actress, and her faces and are merged with pornographic materials and others. So the point is that this is dangerous. And AI app, they unrest women. Even from photos, they convert, videos and just make extremely vulnerable images and videos. Like this guy, we know that the Pope, and he is wearing special dress like this. So AI is for good, but there are lots of misuse, just like it happened and happening in the world, that some of the technological advancements are caught by the criminals in negative side, okay, whether from the state or from some individuals or groups. So it's very important. So ruining lives, this is Guardian's 2023 report, and just a couple more months ago, that deepfake porn is out of control and it's skyrocketing. So that's why we need to control it. So it can, sabotage a corporate. It can fabricate content that can manipulate political statements, propaganda. Even the history can be changed by creating fake videos that Nelson Mandela is saying something which he never said, and it can be proven and very difficult to understand. and so on. So there are lots of other things which are definitely challenging: identity thefts and journalists and others, and especially the trust due to deepfakes. Not only image, not only video, but also audio can destroy the trust of the world. Okay, so that's why it's extremely important that we need to find and solve the challenges of deepfake and similar issues by raising ethical concerns and by raising some act as European Parliament started, this week, and so on, so that we can control. Otherwise, what will happen? That some tech companies will do something for money or passion, probably. They don't consider the ethics, but lawmakers must work on that, and technology companies must work on that, so that every part should be responsible and ethically responsible. But the concern is that, are we human being ethically driven world? No, that's the big problem. So this is, we need to know. That's why we have lots of positive things in the future can come, because it can create new knowledge, new directions, law and orders, and law and AI, ethics and AI, and so on. And we know that, just a few years ago, deepfake detection challenge in a top conference, New York IPS conference, that 10 million US dollar for awards and grants and so on, so that we can combat these kind of things. So work hard so that we can develop. So AI Act by European Union lawmakers, just 8th December 2023, this is the first major comprehensive AI laws in the world to promote the development of AI while addressing the risk, and to ban harmful practices which are clearly threatful to the human rights and safety and so on. So they converted the AI algorithms into 4 different areas. Unacceptable risk must be banned, then high risk, limited risk, and low or minimal risk. This is good. This is okay, probably with some transparency obligations, but other things are extremely and clearly controlled. So what are the unacceptable risks? The whole thing will come, and we need to study, we need to read, not only for the developed world. Remember, AI will have huge impact on most of the developing countries, because the risks are here, and we have to see what we can do. Like many of our, outsourcing in terms of design, AI design, and programmers and others will face challenges. So if we don't find regulations, if we don't find solutions, we'll be in trouble. So for example, it gave some, unacceptable things and vulnerable groups if it happens. So those AI will not be considered. So, for example, real-time remote biometric identification will not be considered. So there are many things. More details will come. We can see. Definitely, this is the final one. But this kind of regulation, like high risk, like biometric identification, education and vocational training, when we use AI, what to do, and employment, law enforcement, migration, and border control, justice and democratic processes, and other things. So they consider limited risk, like chatbots, like large language models. Still, they are under risk, but limited risk. That means should be controlled. There should be have more transparency and ethical issues, emotion recognition systems, and so on. Especially the generative AI, which I mentioned, deepfake, we cannot avoid it, because there are good points as well. I just mentioned negative points, but there are good points as well. We need to check. However, they said that research and innovation should not be controlled, and it should be open for research and innovation, but make sure that nothing is going to the world without any, as a product, in others without any risk. So another important part of humble AI is human collaboration in AI. Like, rather than replacing humans, don't worry, it will not be so soon. Computer came, IT came, Wi-Fi came, internet came. Many things have been changed. That doesn't mean that people become jobless. Today, because of these technologies, I am talking from overseas, to Bangladesh and to this conference and connected. So it means that AI is already helping us and will help much more. We need to engulf, but we need to know how to collaborate human and AI together, because it will generate huge amount of money. Like you see almost 16 trillion, okay, to the global economy within next few years. So humble AI systems work in collaboration with them, acknowledging that human bring valuable insights and judgment. That means we have humanity, we have insight and judgment, and we need to find the collaborations, AI and human collaboration. These kind of things must be in our plate for research and thinking and learning, so that we can prepare for these issues as well. If you don't like some aspects of AI, these are the things you need to learn more. What are the challenges? It's very difficult to have human AI collaborations to understand each other, both sides. Okay, so these kind of things are very important, and to have balance in terms of autonomy, responsibility, and who will be accountable for the or dangerous of AI, human being or AI. So there's the point. And how to resolve when there is a conflict, like if two brothers are fighting, then how to solve it, okay, these disagreements. So similarly, AI becomes our brother or sister, and then what to do and how to evaluate and monitor the performance, impact, and value. These are all unearthed, answered issues, and we need to learn those things so that we can make sure that privacy, fairness, and bias, transparency, and especially human dignity. But even though we are human being, we are not showing dignity everywhere for the human. Recognition of limitations of AI. This is also important. We need to know our limitations so that we can find the problems. Now, the point is that when we say that AI's limitations, we are designed AI, but can we understand AI fully? Isn't it still like a black box? And another point is that can we avoid human bias? So these are the very important things. So that's why we need to do some kind of strategies like self-assessment, meta-learning, from where AI will learn from its own experience and feedback. Like if you use large language models like ChatGPT and others, you can see that you have the options to like and dislike and give comment. Those things probably help them to improve. At the same time, they need to develop their own mechanism so that they can say, oh, I need to stop. I need to, be reliable and understandable and so on. Explainability is extremely important, not easy. Ethical awareness is another important part. Human collaboration, as I mentioned. And another one is that accountability. Like, am I accountable? So I'm not showing this one. You can have a look later on from YouTube, that distrustful AI, and AI is trying to be trustful and so on. So this accountability is important because AI can do some kind of predictions based on the learning. It can make good or bad. Say, for example, when we go to a bank, will the bank give me loan? If I in the jail, will I get the bail or safeguard children and other things? Now, these are the things should be done by the AI, and people are using AI. But if AI is not responsible and transparent and not accountable, it will have negative consequences. So the answer is that human values and minimize the risk associated with the AI application. Now, the question is that, are we teaching these things to our AI, and how? If not, what will happen? More responsible and measured approach to AI development is extremely important. But are we responsible in dealing with human beings? So if I am the human being and I design AI, will not be affected in the design of AI. So that's the point. The biasness and control, and what are the, controlling agenda and politics globally to develop AI. So these are the very, very important things, and we must unearth those things so that we can make more responsible AI. So in conclusion, AI is extremely challenging domain, not in a small scale, in major scale especially. And I'm making humble AI, the philosophy, the concept, to develop and deployment of AI system to be more modest, ethical, and respectful of the limitations and potential risk. It's extremely difficult, as I have shown many aspects, but we must try. So that's the point. We must act. All right. And then we must act based on transparency, ethical considerations, collaboration with human, recognition of limitations and accountability. And we need multidisciplinary research activities to understand and do more. Like we need philosophy, we need ethical people from ethics, we need from business. So not competing people only just to know how to code, how to develop AI, not the mathematicians to develop high quality algorithms for AI. We need further and further, so that not only by talk like this way, or sometimes maybe in some forum or in a newspaper, we read 2 pages article or a 5 minutes talk, 10 minutes talk about the importance of it. We need to act beyond that with depth. Without depth, we cannot find the solution, and we need to try to be the leaders so that we can develop, industry 5.0, society 5.0 for the future. And remember that we must be humble as a human being. And when we design something, we can make it humble like this way. So there are few more, if you are not AI people, then you can just look at it. YouTube channel, we have AI for All, a beginner's guide. Some lectures are coming already. There are 8 or 9 lectures, more will come, so that non-tech IT people, non-STEM people can understand AI in an easier manner, hopefully. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'll try. So Rumai Sommer Foundation is the YouTube channel. And I welcome you to submit to this 6th International Conference on Activity and Behavior Computing. It will be in Japan, also hybrid, and Japanese visa is easy to get. And those who attended in the future, you know that how good it is. So we are developing this conference, and it will be in May. Please try to submit your abstract by 17th January and full paper by February 7th. So if you have any query, feel free to knock me anytime by email. So this is my website, ahadvisionlab.com. You can find the links. And again, let's be humble before making AI humble. So with that, I'd like to thank the organizers for having me, and then we'll try to do more. So thank you very much indeed. So if you have any questions, I'll try to address. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Atiqur Rahman Ahad, for your excellent presentation about the AI, because this is a philosophy. And our first philosophy was that the machine can also think. So if machine think, what can problem arises? So you have mentioned everything. So actually, I have some queries, but before that, actually, I would like to invite from the audience or the other participants in this session, any questions to Professor Atiqur Rahman Ahad about humble AI and ethics? Please raise your hand and introduce yourself and ask questions.
Yes, sir. Can I ask a question?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I'm Sir Dr. S.M. Shiabuddin, Chairman of the Tribute Department. And I would like to thank you, sir, for bringing this very important topic into discussion. I think it's the first time I'm hearing this, the term humble AI, or kind of maybe you want to regulate AI. Is it a kind of a discussion in Europe at the moment? Do you see a lot of dialogues around it? How is, because I think it's very, very important, this issue that we are going to face with AI, and what ethics should an AI follow? You know, I mean, this like the thing is these very large language models. You don't really know how the inputs and outputs are related. So what answer, when you ask a question, what answer are you supposed to get, and what answer are you getting? And so if you're not really controlling, and then which ethics should AI follow? And I have a feeling that there would be a way to kind of contaminate the knowledge that AI holds, this large language model. So it's kind of it's exciting, but it's also very scary. So I just want to know from you, sir, is how this dialogue is shaping in Europe or Japan, or what our policymakers or researchers are, how they are taking initiatives to tackle the case.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much, Professor Shihab. Nice to meet you online. So thank you indeed. So the point is that, I mean, definitely it's very, very important. And especially America, they started a few years ago, but just a sort of outline, and they're trying to regulate. But the biggest efforts came from the European Union. So as I mentioned, from this like AI Act from the European Parliament. So this AI Act finally in December, 8 December 2023, they raised this issue, and they comprehensively, for the first time in the world, agreed upon some of the points. So they are talking about it a lot. In Japan, definitely they are talking about a lot. In China, we don't know much because of the language and others, how far they regulated. But in China, AI is extremely used because globally, based on my understanding and some data, like the number one conference on computer vision and pattern recognition, the IEEE CVPR, in first COVID time, 39%, say 40% almost, participants were from Japan. Sorry, no, from China. And America, 25%. And among Americans, there are many Chinese, and globally many Chinese as well. So more than 50% Chinese researchers in the world are leading AI and AI related conferences and journals and publications. So it means that they are, in deep into AI, but how much regulations they are doing, we don't know much, because people are developing a lot. Definitely they are doing. Japan, definitely they are doing. European Union, we saw the success that they have, extremely regulated. And if someone is interested, and someone should, a small group should, and work out those regulations and read those PDFs and documents after and after. And actually, in IEEE, there is from the Standard Association, IEEE, I say there is, there have been going on AI and ethics forum who are developing, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds policies and documents in the last several years. Probably that will help tremendously a lot, because those people are basically from technologists, and as well as, they're involving philosophy. So I arranged an international symposium a couple of months ago in UK, in London, that is by Professor Dr. Ali Hassami. He is a big guy, and he was the chair of that forum. And I'm trying with him and others to arrange AI and ethics, this kind of summer school or winter school in the coming days, probably online or mixed. But let's see, we are trying. We had a meeting this month already. So these acts are there, number one. Number two, we don't need to worry too much about ChatGPT or others, because just think about that. It is here already. Suddenly it came. Within few months, the progress is tremendous. Think about the progress it may show after 5 years, after 10 years. So whatever the shortcomings or challenges we are facing, we always need to see that what we see now, what happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and similarly, what we see now, what will happen 10 years later, 20 years later, like deepfake, for example. If we could make pornographic materials with anybody 5 years ago, and still there are developments, what will happen after 10 years, after 20 years? If we make fake audios or videos, then don't we think that it will change the history? People can change and doctor many things. These are going on. But at the same time, who prepared those things? Human being, intelligent people. And can we control those? So we need more algorithms. We need more understanding. If we understand more, it will help us to solve the problem. The major problem is that most of the academicians and the books we study and read, we just go to the surface level. And all big tech industries, Just like look at the large language models who are surviving all over the world, millions of companies, only three major, like Bing AI, Chat, Birds, and the Bird, and then the Chat GPT, and it has different versions. Now the point is a different company, they have their own large language models as well, but it's still only few are surviving. Now, what will happen if there are, they are controlling too much. And the AI people in the industry, big tech industry versus the AI people in the academia, there should have much more connectivity. How those things are working, we don't know that much. If you watch a video from YouTube, 60 minutes, Jeffrey Hinton, who is considered the godfather of AI, and you'll be surprised to know that he is verifying because of the tremendous progress and non-understanding AI. His own design is not understandable. So, and we don't need to worry about too much. We need to worry about whether we are giving our time in academia and trying to connect and learn from the industry, which is difficult because it's a fight. We don't know the inherent reasons. We don't have the capacity to form a trillion, neurons, just like we have trillion neurons. And now we developed trillion neurons in hardware based, and they are working. We can't have these kind of things. But if we go to philosophy and bring the people from law, ethics, philosophy, society, business, healthcare especially, then we can develop. One thing is very sure, that even though AI is extremely developing in different fields, but human aspects, empathy, human emotions, intelligence, and overall understanding of human being, the healthcare issues, even psychologists don't understand whether I have a psychological problem. So it means even the family members who are living for 30 years, having good life, and suddenly, one day later, somebody is committing suicide. So it means that we don't know, we cannot understand. We are so complex and diverse as well. So it means that we have tremendous scope to understand and regulate and work hard. Another point I mentioned that regarding this act, why do we only consider rich countries, developed countries, what they're doing? What we need to do, because our perspectives will be totally different. Some people say that the much more effect or impact globally in terms of economy and job will be the destruction of many scopes of developing world, poor countries economically or technologically poor countries. So make sure that we become technologically knowledgeable and rich, so that we can solve our own problem, because outsider cannot understand. You lived overseas, they cannot understand that how a people can live on the street. Americans, they know because they have millions of homeless. But in many countries, many people don't know the scarcity of electricity or food or even normal drinking water. They cannot imagine. So we know something and then we try to solve. So that's why our solutions should be our solutions based on global perspective. But if we don't act very seriously, just like sometimes we get a newspaper article, 2 pages, or maybe some forums, 1 hour talk or half an hour discussions. And this kind of, my talk is also based on the surface, not depth, because depth talk for on depth need much more time, specific forum, so that we can dig out point by point and see. So we need more brainstorming, and I recommend that some of you guys, we can form something and regular interactions and incorporate more people on the plate, industrialists, experts from industry and academia, and then try to find some better solutions. It will take much more time because it's rapidly evolving, but if you are not connected, then we'll struggle. That's the point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And I really thank you for taking this initiative of bringing this in our dialogue. I think you are part of the initial movement. I really appreciate it because it's the first time I got exposed to this kind of humble AI and this way of view. Because I was thinking for last 2-3 weeks. Because there was a term used by Elon Musk as a digital god. He's thinking that this digital god, the machine, will have all the knowledge in one place, but we don't really know what knowledge it has. Because what is source of information, how much it's prioritized, and what ethics does this follow? Which one it will think is the right thing to do? I mean, there is no control. So I think it's very important. And if you take any initiative or any want to make any forum, I would be love to be a part of it. And we start a dialogue, and also want to have this dialogue in our local community, because it's very important that we be aware of such things. But thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, Dr. Shihabuddin, thank you. Any more questions from audience? Not only questions, actually, just observations or discussions.
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure,
Professor,
sir.
yeah, this is Khaja.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Nice to meet you online, though. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your thought-provoking presentation. Basically, yeah, as you have said that we hardly understand how AI, takes decision and generate new things. So, one of my friend, he was asking whether he's working in a patent office in US. So he's exposed to all the new inventions. So you're saying that whether AI can act like a scientist and come up with new branches of knowledge. Like, you're saying that Newton, for example, he, invented the calculus, right? So whether AI can have that capability to create a new branch of knowledge that we are not aware of. Is it possible? Now AI can generate, contents which are familiar to us, right? Those are not new content as per se. But I'm saying that fundamental branch of knowledge.
Thank you very much indeed. Actually, it's extremely important area that AI to create fundamental knowledge. Now, already, especially after the ChatGPT and BART, this kind of large language models, some researchers are exploring the possibilities. Big researchers I read even from the topmost, like National Instruments and others, that they are thinking that new drug molecules or new materials, even physics theories, it's unthinkable. I don't know how, because I'm not a physicist anymore, but they are thinking that, these can be generated. And especially, you see that traditional AI, what we say, it's no more, it will not be like the traditional reason-based or traditional AI for a long time, because already the generative AI, which is not only the large language models, but the deep fake, deep videos, these kind of things came. So just to clarify that, when we say generative AI, they are truly generating new things. So if I, even though based on the previous things, so if I want to develop, say one of my research areas is antimicrobial resistance, AMR. So antimicrobial resistance, we need bacteria images. So for bacteria images, we need lots of bacteria, but from the, pharmaceutical perspective or drug, we cannot get, millions of bacteria images, or just like face recognition, we have billions of faces or videos. Now, when we need, how can we generate, not copy, how can we generate new bacteria, or how can we generate new images of something that we don't have? So these kind of things, we can use brand new images which are, closer to the real one. Like if I have a cat, 1 million cat images, and then I want to generate new cat, it's possible. Of course, images, I'm just saying. So it means the generative AI is generating similarly, like if you ask, that's the difference. Like when we use Google Translator or Yahoo Translators we used, and it's dead, no more now. Those are not generative AI, because they just translated based on some information. But when the large language models like ChatGPTs are working, they are basically generating new knowledge. Like if you ask it, it can give you something based, of course, based on information, but they can create something like a poem, for example. They can write something, generate new images, new painting, new music composition. So these kind of things are generated. So now how to exploit those things? smartly, so that, and that's why we need many researchers who will use this kind of generative AI concept in a good way, especially the large language models, and use generative AI to understand how better, I mean, it can help and serve researchers. I tell you that, I mean, last month, Professor Jahid was attended that conference as well in London. This is the conference on international ICIV and IVPR. Imaging, vision, and pattern recognition, and ICIV in informatics, electronics, and vision. So those conferences, one keynote speaker who is from Imperial and TUM, Germany, big guy, my friend Björn Schuler. He's an IEEE fellow, and he has, I mean, 60,000 Google Scholar citation. Not only that, I mean, big guy. So in his presentation, he mentioned that they used large language models to find solutions for their methods, for their problems, and they compared the results, that their own methods and other methods, state-of-the-art methods, and the large language models gave some kind of solutions, and those solutions they tried, and surprisingly, their results are comparable. So that's why, I mean, this is extremely important that we explore, I mean, generative AI and in a good manner, so that we can, I mean, really understand and use it. So this is, I mean, extremely important. So this is one point. So I don't know why. Okay. So I just mentioned a conference. Sorry, you can close your eyes when I'm going down. So there is an international conference. I mentioned the 6th Activity and Behavior Computing, ABC. So I'm a general chair of this conference, but I'm not arranging any challenges. So different groups in Japan, from Japan and others universities, they arrange different conferences. In this conference, this year, they are trying to launch a new, I mean, challenge, where you must use generative AI, especially large language models, and then to find solutions. So there are researchers who are working like this way. If we can genuinely spend lots of money, and I request you that at least for your university teachers, you allow the paid version of ChatGPT. I don't have a contract with them, but if you allow them, like University of Michigan, one of my researchers, yesterday I had a meeting, she said that University of Michigan, a top US university, they are, I mean, opened the paid version of ChatGPT for all students and all research. I'm not sure how true it is, but this is the information I got from that researcher, and they are using it, and the free version and the paid version are hugely different. And if you use, you can generate not only the code, not only the information, ideas how to solve a problem. So say, for example, we have now 80 participants. We do in 80 or hundreds of different areas research. If we ask ChatGPT and Bard and Bing or another one, and smartly try to ask so that answers can be unearthed, and those ideas we try to implement and see that what ChatGPT said, what human intelligence said so far, and what are the performances, what are the good points, bad points. These are very much important. And especially I tell you that, I mean, all the teachers here, that we cannot, I mean, control people to use ChatGPT to write a thesis or other information, but we need to find at the same time how to use those things and differentiate human values, human thinking, human knowledge, and that is very much important. So what will happen that, I mean, new branch of knowledge, there is a huge possibility we don't know yet, but definitely to find some solutions, like a new research paper, even in IEEE transactions, papers in IEEE transactions, they are using the output or suggestions from ChatGPT and others, and compare their results to show how good they are. If they can do it now, what will happen after 5 years, after 10 years? Much better. So that's the point. And definitely, Professor Khaja, it's a wonderful, I mean, point and wonderful question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Professor Khaza sir and Professor Atiq. And if I think we can take one more last questions from the audience because it's already 1:12. So is there any questions? I saw one audience raised his hand.
Yes, sir. I have a
Okay,
question.
please. Yep.
Thank you, sir. So, my question is about the humble AI. Isn't the concept of humble AI similar to the behavior of good humans, where the ethical nature depends on the learning algorithms and choice made, which is good for humans and all? And what measures can be taken if bad people create harmful AI systems like which is similar to the uncontrollable viruses or autonomous systems which have the intents with destructive intent, like replicating themselves and building an army or attempting to dominate the world? Furthermore, my question is, how can humble AI counteract the potential threats of the AI attempting to dominate the world, especially in the context of bad people developing harmful AI? Considering that every system is going to be connected to the internet and our communication, social interaction, and military defense, all are dependent on in future will be controlled over wireless control. And we can see viruses that is uncontrollable. Even if their creators are no longer present, the virus still exists.
Yeah.
So how
Okay.
can we address this
Yes, thank you
potential?
very much indeed, Jahidul Hassan. Wonderful question. Actually, that's the point that I mean, the concept of humble AI, it's not the solution. It's a concept that, just like as you mentioned, that good human beings. So can we make AI as a, I mean, good AI, which is transparent and modest and ethical and understand their limitations and potential risk, and based on these they can manage. So the main point you said, how can we control? The answer is that we don't know till now, because that's why when we design AI, we need to focus on these attributes, so then hopefully we can control it at some point. Definitely, my belief is that human being will be able to control AI and more or less to control it from the bad people. But again, like, I mean, as I mentioned, the deep fake pornographic materials 5 years ago, if people can misuse via, I mean, the noble concept of generative adversarial network, which came 9 years ago, again, generative adversarial networks and similar other things. And more thing will come, more methods will come for betterments. But people misused it to make pornographic materials, to fake history, to fake different personalities, to make fake news, and so on. It's extremely difficult. We are struggling. Top media groups are, I mean, tech groups are also struggling. Media globally, they are struggling. Political leaders are worried about, because this is coming and people can misunderstand. Now, the solutions, not so easy. One solution, as I mentioned, that we need to understand what is really AI, how really it works. And when we know the black box, when we know and understand more the explainability of AI, then we can try to understand the other issues. Another point is that when we train, the data set is extremely important. Unfortunately, data sets are all biased. So this is a big problem, especially face recognition. You can listen the keynote speech from Professor Matthew Turk, the legendary person on face recognition, and the president of Toyota Technological Institute, IEEE fellow, IAPR fellow, ACM fellow, big guy. His keynote he gave at in Bangladesh, the UGC conference a couple of years ago. So you can find it in the Rumaisa Umar, channel. So Matthew Turk, face bias, if you search it, you will be surprised to know that how much biases are there. And that's why the European Parliament, when they developed the AI Act, they considered this kind of real-time face recognition based methods and other biometrics are, high risk material, and how to control or even almost ban them so that it cannot be used openly. Now, this is a big issue, how to control. So we need to create those things. Another point is that sometimes if we just know the basic coding, we know that we can filter out something, we can give weight or priority to something. When we teach AI to be biased, just like we know that, if you are using Facebook, social media, or X, the former Twitter, or others, we know that these things are getting biased. They say that bias means biased probably to somebody, biased against somebody. Sometimes some posts are deleted. Sometimes some people are, do you think that every billions of people are using, millions of accounts are banned or controlled or paused? Do you think that those things are done manually? The answer is not. Inherently, if as an AI architect, AI engineer, I can train the AI to be a stupid one, to be a biased one, unethical one, then what will happen? AI will learn this kind of thing, just like my son or my daughter. If they know that I shout loud and I scream at home, then what will happen? Whatever good modesty I try to teach them, they will be developed like this way. AI is learning, self-learning, just like human being. It's not in small scale, in large scale, big scale. So that's why it's extremely dangerous, important to control, but we don't know how to control. That's why we need to know the aspects of controlling issues. And I strongly recommend that in every computer science and engineering curriculum and other curriculum, we can have at least 1 hour lecture or maybe few hour lectures on this kind of things, especially, in AI module or AI subject, you must have these kind of things so that not only research ethics, research methodologies, but also AI and ethics, so that our researchers, the future generation, can be ready for this kind of things. Like when we design, we can feel that this is important. Like when we make a building, we must control that there will be a wheelchair user so that we can support. When we make a toilet, we must know that there are male and female and different people have different demand and others. If we don't think like that, then what will happen? That our design is there, it is done, it's not easy to change a building. So that's the point. So similarly, when you design something, it's not easy to change. So misuse, how to control? We need to find those algorithms. If there is already bias, how to manage the bias? We need to find those algorithms. We need to be very smart and must work hard and study well. If the seniors failed, the youngers like you, from your face, I think you are one of the youngest people here. So, you need to learn, we need to learn from each other, have much more discourses, brainstorming sessions, so that we can really create knowledge. And this kind of knowledge will lead the world. And it should be multidisciplinary, because personally, I'm an engineering person, science person. I don't know what is ethics. I don't know what is law, how those things are regulated, and so on. We just use and make design. And another point is that I request every researchers here that usually we try to publish very quickly. If teachers, we have students, undergraduate and masters, and they cannot continue the research, we need to publish for their future. But if you are a young guy, you have the sole control, try to engage that research for 1 year, 2 year, engage more large language models, engage more other things, so that the work can be profoundly better, and try to add some of the elements of humble AI to some extent that will help to understand the work better. Rome was not built in a day. We cannot change and solve it quickly, but there is a huge scope. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we have taken lots of time. For me, the problem, it's very early morning.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Professor Atiqur Rahman. Actually, we don't have enough time, so but I have a simple query. It's just one thing, that is, you mentioned that is transparency, and that is transparency means the inside the AI decision process. Okay, so how actually we we can, we able to know that decision process, is it good or not? Because, this kind of black box, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how we can improve the transparency and explainability,
Mm-hmm.
basically, to build the trust actually about the system.
Yeah.
Is there any scopes or other things?
This is, I mean, extremely important point, and some researchers globally are trying to consider that XAI, explainability of AI, interpretability of AI, this kind of words are coming. But what are the methods? Now, the point is that in a small scale, we use some of the strategies like SHAP, SHAP, or similar other things. But those things are not good enough to make something understandable and explainable. My strategy and my idea is that can we understand the method itself, the AI method, how really it works, and can we find in between stages, like when I cook something, I cut different things, I put different spices. And based on those spices, if my food is different taste, I can know that probably I put lots of ginger, probably I put lots of salt, probably I put this and that. Now, if you buy a packed spice like Radhuni or others, I'm not part of Radhuni, so not recommending this company only. Okay. Now, what will happen that you can make wonderful food, but all food will be the same. You don't know why the taste is so good, or if you want to change the taste, you don't know which one is to add more and so on. So similarly, if we know the traditional cooking, like handcrafted features we used or classical methods, where we knew every stage is one after another, how the pixels are performing, the relationships among the pixels. So, I mean, to understand the math and statistics in a much better manner, and then going into the algorithm to find solutions. There are not solutions in most of the cases. To find solutions, what are the in-between stages which we can unearth and explain it mathematically, as well as we can see the stages, the in-between parts and the changes. And if we can explain those things more and more, and if our teaching in the university, which is AI or related subjects, can be done based on this concept, then what will happen? Our mind will be ready like this manner, not just we put some value in an equation and we get the output. So our education system should be rearranged so that we really understand what is going on, what is the goal, what are the purposes. Then probably we can find some strategies in the future and try to get more explainability and so on. I'm not an expert of explainability of AI. I'm still trying to understand. And what I see that people are struggling, but when we do research, I don't have slides, but for example, in one work, when I worked at Osaka University, my former PhD student. So say, for example, we used generative AI to create new images. For example, so we have occlusion images, occluded images. From the occluded images, we used GAN and its variants, children, and we developed our new method. Now say that this is the ground truth. Now, if it is the ground truth, and then say, for example, I generated something which is like this way, and then like this one. Now you see that here, this red part is, I mean, not within the ground truth. This red part is extra, so it is falsely reconstructed. And this part is not reconstructed. So it means that when we can explain each image and the amount of right or wrong, and then we can understand that the performance of it, this is in terms of performance, one strategy is like selecting this. But if we don't do it, then what will happen? We did it, but when we did not do it, we just see that, oh, totally the performance is this level or this level. The end result we know. In between, I mean, we needed to know what are the things. Based on those things, we can say even if something is good taste or the performance is better, but its error rates are higher, and we need to check the images manually. Now we check the final image. We did not check that in between. If I say that before the final image, I have 10 stages. Can we check those 10 stages? Can we understand that up to this level, what are the stages, the encoder, decoder, how they worked, generator, encode, discriminator, how they worked, what are the strategies? If we change a loss function, whether the loss functions, any parameter has an impact, and what are the impacts? If we can understand those things and highlight those things in our education, in our research papers, only then we can go towards more understandable AI. Otherwise, if most of the cases in not only these conferences, but most of the conferences in the world, what we see that people use different kinds of algorithms, AI models, try this and that, and we get the good results. We explain the results. We mention to satisfy the reviewers, some unnecessary equations sometimes. Instead of those traditional equations, we need to understand and explain that alpha, beta, gamma, or what are the relationships in pixel level if it is image? What are the relationships in audio, pitch, and other functions? And we, similar to the world, think human philosophy is everywhere. We lived with, joint families, many families, and we were happy even though there are problems. Then we become selfish, or maybe city life. We forget about the family, joint family. We just want to live one media game, drama game, and others and others. So people live husband, wife, and only one children, two children, like, and more. Okay. Now, some cases, because of reality, we are now going back to the joint family issues because of the benefits and other things. Similarly, in image processing and others, if we consider that when there was no deep learning, when the AI was not strong, what we did for audio or speech analysis or signal processing or video signal processing and others, what we did, remember those things. We used many handcrafted features. We segmented the image. We understood in between relationship, the signals and codings and others. Now, current AI researchers, or I don't say they are AI researchers, they are AI users, deep learning users, most of the cases, just we use, just like we buy Radhunis Spice or others. Now, when we use, we don't know the inherent rationalities and reasons. When we don't know, we cannot explain. We just see the output and we become happy. And that's the major problem. And this trend is going on, and especially AI is developed by Python, most of the cases, which is extremely good and easy. And when we have lots of functions ready, we don't need to understand, like when there was no Python, or if we are not allowed to use MATLAB, I must implement principal component analysis by myself. So what happened when you do it by C or C+, we know how the hell it works, why the hell it works. Inherently mathematics to understand, inherently knowing which part is working and not. So instead of one line of code in Python or MATLAB, we need to understand the thousands or hundreds of lines, how to implement and so on. So when we do it, like using the classical ways we studied and learned different methods, if we can do, probably AI will be more explainable, because it needs a generation of learning and longer period of learning. And we need to learn like this manner. I just tell you, for the students who are looking for job, one company, Canadian company, asked an applicant for second stage interview, and they said that, okay, show your screen like this one. And now you code how to convert an string into integer using Python. Now what you do? You use only one line. You smile, oh, so happy. You use only one function, and then you implement it, and you don't get the job, because the goal from that, interviewer was, no, it's not for my interview, by the way, the interviewer was to know that, can you write the raw lines of codes quickly so that if you input the user defined function, if you use input is a string, you can convert into integer, which is not the one line of code, not the inbuilt function, but your own function. Similarly, when we say that using machine learning, using deep learning, we using generative adversarial network and others, can we understand how it works, why the results are good, what are the relationships among each step? Like if you study, microwave and this kind of signals, or Maxwell's equations in not computing, if you are from electronic engineering. So we studied those Maxwell's equations. One strategy is that you just know the few equations, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then memorize, or you know how to use it. Or maybe you have a function, you just put the signal and then equations and say you get some output. The point is that, yes, this is good, you know something. But when we studied in the university, at Dhaka University, did in applied physics and electronics, I and my teacher, Professor Anis Ahmed, and we understood every variables and we understood every stages. So one equation, we probably used hundreds of, computations, and then finally developed. And we try to understand, or most of the students, or probably some of the students, try to understand what are the relationships between one to another, and the corresponding signal, why it looks like this shape or that shape and that shape, what are the reasons, and so on. If we understand in that manner and make a culture, and I think that if there are researchers like these that who tries to understand like that, I'm not, and I don't have enough time, unfortunately, but if you are, any of you are, then contact me. We can arrange these kind of things. We can create lots of materials in Bangla or in English, so that other researchers can get lots of knowledge and make a culture to understand. If we cannot explain by ourselves our method properly, just say that we use LSTM, or we use this one or that one, this loss function, and it worked, we got the good result, which is good for publications. Even in topmost journals and conferences, they do like this way. Very rarely you find in-depth discussions, because somehow we are crazy for publications and to make the people happy, but we need to do more ablation studies, like removing some of the parameters to see that the impact of other functions, other parameters, other variables, and relationships among them. If we can do more and more, probably we'll go more closer to the explainability, but it will vary from domain to domain and not easy task at all. This is what I can understand. But in bigger scale, it's extremely difficult. What the godfather of AI, Hinton, said in his interview with 60 minutes. I can share later, probably once upon a time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Atiqur Rahman, for your detailed answers. And it's a very good discussion. So I think we are out of time, actually. More than an hour we have already passed. So now I would like to request Dr. Muhammad Abdul Rahman to continue the work, the rest of the work.
Thank you, Professor Shahid and Dr. Selina Shalmin, for your nice chairing the session. And I would like to express my heartiest thanks and grateful to our today's keynote speaker, Professor Atiqur Rahman Ahad, for your nice presentation that is related to our AI, not only AI, but also effects and impacts of AI on different domains researchers. I would like to thank our rapporteurs also here presented, and I am requesting our rapporteurs to conclude the session and other formalities.
Okay, sir. If you permit, now I will show the digital certificate to our honorable speaker and session chairs.
Okay. Please display the certificate here. May I request?
Thank you, sir.
May I request Dr. Serena Sharmi to receive this e-certificate for your sharing the session. I would like to request Professor Dr. Indu Jahidul Islam, sir, to receive this certificate.
Okay, accept it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Finally, I would like to request our Professor Dr. Atiqur Rahman, sir, to receive this virtual certificate. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'm requesting to Dr. Aminur Rahman, please keep the physical conference kit for Professor Atiqur Rahman. Okay,
Sure,
we'll
sir.
take it
Sure,
to Japan.
sure, sir. Sure.
Okay, now I would like to end the session with the permission of our honorable moderator, sir.
Okay, thank you. We can conclude this session. Thank you all.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Stay well.
Now I am ending this
Stay,
session.
yeah.
Thank you very much for your valuable time. Stay blessed. Salam alaikum.